What's going on, guys? Welcome to your 35th tutorial in the UDK, and in this tutorial I just want to talk to you guys about some very important lighting concepts concerning the UDK and concerning computer games in general. So I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of adding, moving around lights, doing this and that in this tutorial, but once you understand this tutorial and what I have to teach, it's going to take your knowledge of lights in the UDK to a whole nother level. So this is actually probably one of the most important tutorials that I made yet, so you definitely don't want to miss it. So basically, the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is how light is calculated whenever you're playing a computer game. So whenever you're playing a computer game or a PlayStation or Xbox game, most of the lighting information you see is actually calculated before you even start that game. And by that I mean if all the lighting information, like all these properties, were calculated as we were playing the game, then it would just slaughter our processor and our computer would lag. So that's why whenever you're playing a computer game, what the UDK does is it makes these things called light maps and shadow maps for all the lights that don't move. For example, if we were to play this game, the UDK beforehand would create a light map and a shadow map for this light right here. Since this light doesn't move, it's able to pre-calculate all the points where this light is going to hit and all the spaces where this light is going to illuminate beforehand. And what that does is it saves our processor a bunch of having to process the lights while our character is running around and trying to do the important stuff like shoot aliens and stuff. So with that being said, I told you guys that what the UDK does is make these things called light maps and shadow maps. So I guess I better explain to you guys what those things are. A light map is basically a texture. So let me go ahead and actually show you one. Hopefully when I type in light map, yep, we got some right here. Go ahead and select texture. So as you can see, a light map is basically a texture telling the UDK which parts of your map you want to light up. So since we have these textures built beforehand, whenever we load our game, all the information is there. It doesn't have to process it as our character is moving around. So that way, it basically saves our computer a whole bunch of work. So that's what a light map is. A shadow map is basically the exact same thing. But what a shadow map would do is it would use its texture to tell the UDK where the shadows are. So a light map tells the UDK where the light is going to hit. The shadow map tells the UDK where the shadows are. So there's our two terminologies on maps. Now, another bit of terminology you're going to come across a lot when you're working with the UDK is static lights and dynamic lights. Now, I'm guessing you guys can probably figure out what these mean just by the sounds of them. But just to clarify, because I don't want to skip anything, a static light is a light that doesn't move. For example, this point light right here would be a static light. A dynamic light is a light that actually moves during gameplay. So if you were to put this light on a moving path and you want it to, move back and forth during gameplay, that would be a dynamic light. So with that being said, static lights are lights that we can make light maps out of. Those are lights that are pre-calculated, and it makes it really easy on our computer's processor to have static lights. So whenever you're creating a level, keep that in mind. A bunch of static lights make it really easy on your computer. Dynamic lights, however, aka the lights that move, they can't be pre-calculated, so they actually need to be calculated during gameplay. And this takes a lot of processing power from your computer. So whenever you're making a computer game, keep that in mind that you kind of want to stay away from dynamic lights. Sometimes you need to have them, but as a general rule, don't include a lot of dynamic lights in your level or else your computer is going to lag. So that being said, we know the basic terminology of lights, and basically static lights are better than dynamic for that reason. So now let's go over to the different types of lights. So I showed you before, if we go up to View, Browser Windows, and Actor Classes, we get all these different types of lights. Now let's go ahead and let me explain to you guys what all these different types of lights are. I guess I might as well just start from the top and work my way down. A directional light is basically you would use this whenever you're working with a really distant light source like the sun. That's all I'm going to say right now. So directional lights are pretty much a distant light source like the sun or a light that you're never going to get to directly. Point lights is the light we're most familiar with. It comes from a single point and affects all areas around it, kind of like a light bulb. That's the lights that we've been adding in our level just to light things up real quick. A skylight is it's kind of weird because I can't really explain this any good way. what they did is they made two hemispheres, a top and a bottom, and they made like an infinite light source. And this basically, the reason you use skylights is whenever you want consistent ambient light across your entire level, basically it's a broad light that can cover your entire level. That's when you would use a skylight. Again, I know I can't really explain to you guys what a skylight is because you can't really make one in the real world. So I'm going to have to show you guys whenever we're working with it and making a big level. I'll show you guys what it means. So don't worry if you don't understand it right now. And last but not least, a spotlight. Like I covered in the last tutorial, it's a light that comes from a single point that comes out in kind of a cone shape, kind of like a flashlight. So now you're saying, all right, I know what directional lights, point, sky, and spotlights are. So what are all these little things right here? Well, all these things have kind of like a normal setting first, like skylight, point light, direction light. This is kind of like the default. So aside from that, you see toggable, movable, toggable, movable, toggable, movable. And I guess I'll tell you guys what toggable and movable. Toggable basically means that you can turn this light on and off. So later on when we're learning Unreal Script and Kismet, which is basically how you program in the UDK, I'm going to be teaching you guys how you can make a light turn on and off. So you would want to make that toggable. Now a movable light, you see all of these classes have movable besides skylight because like I said that kind of covers the whole thing. All of these lights have movable. That basically means that they're dynamic and you can make paths to move them along. So pretty much toggleable means on and off, movable means that you can move them. So that covers all of our lights except if you caught me, you notice that I didn't cover these lights right here. These lights down here are special lights called pickup lights where if you ever played a game where you could go around and pick up objects like money or weapons or armor or health, this is what those lights are. Again, they're a special kind of light used whenever your character is running around and they can pick up items. So I'll be showing you guys those. They're really easy and simple to work with, but that's what those are. So don't forget that, don't blame me because I didn't cover them because I just did. So anyways, that's all the important lighting concepts. So basically now you guys know all there is to know about the different types of lights and also the main concepts that basically whenever the UDK works with lights, it turns all your static lights into light maps beforehand, and it makes it really easy on your processor. And, well, I basically told you guys everything you need to know. So now when we're working with lights, you're going to understand what I'm talking about a whole lot better and why I'm doing the things I do a whole lot better. So for now, that's all I got for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video.